The other day I came across, and in this moment I'm not going to be able to remember, it was either an Instagram post or maybe an email from Marianne Williamson, or was something. And it was, my brain just caught the words of the special relationship versus the holy relationship. And that has always been one of my favorite pieces of teaching from A Course in Miracles. And if you are not aware of the body of work that is A Course in Miracles, I highly suggest you get yourself aware of it. It's a very weighty text. It is a spiritual text. It's something that I've been studying and reading and, in relationship with, since Lola's 6 now, for the past probably 7-ish years. And that's how it is when you are reading and studying A Course in Miracles. The entire body of work consists of a spiritual text, a workbook with a lesson for every single day of the year, so 365 days, and then a manual for teachers. And the one that I have is, actually, let me go grab it real fast for you. Let me go get it real fast. The one that I have is all three. See, and this is what it is. It's what it looks like. It's just used up, marked up, read up, notes everywhere kind of thing. And then these are the lessons, So, and the pages are so paper thin. It reminds me in a lot of ways of the Bible. The very limited amount of time that I have spent reading and studying the Bible, that's what it reminded me of. And for me, this really does represent the Bible. This is my expression of it. And what I love about A Course in Miracles is that it takes the stories from the Bible, it takes the teachings, and it puts them through a more metaphysical lens, which means there's no actual religion or dogma attached to it. It extrapolates and makes these very metaphorical stories applicable and available to everyone, no matter what your particular spiritual persuasion might be. So when it talks about in A Course in Miracles, the holy relationship versus the special relationship, as I said, those words caught my eye and caught my brain, caught my heart. And I want to speak on it a little bit more because it's something that trips us up a lot. Relationships trip us up, and relationships are everything. In a previous video, I spoke about that a little bit. Let's talk about love and relationship, is I think how I opened that particular teaching. And I want to speak more specifically in this moment about the purpose of relationships and how I personally view relationships. When I say to you that relationships are everything, what that means is, how am I in relationship to everything? That's ultimately what matters, because it invites us to view the relationship as an exchange, whether that is a relationship with a person, whether that is a relationship with ourselves, whether that is a relationship with a particular narrative, a relationship with our job, a relationship with our planet. I mean, everything, because we're here, I'm here. And like right now, I'm looking at this, candle holder. I'm in relationship to that candle holder. And what that means is, not only is there a proximity thing, which I talked about in that last video, where am I in relationship to that candle holder? Well, it's sort of like, to my left, it's in front of me, it's to my left, maybe like, 45 degrees from center, but I also have a greater relationship with that candle holder because I'm going to give you the backstory of that candle holder. When I first opened the studio, I don't even know how many years ago, 5-ish years ago, maybe some more than that, or the second location of the studio, that was 5 years ago. When I first opened it, I had a very limited amount of money with which I was using to furnish it, to invest in it, to, decorate it, build it out, all these different things. And so I was scouring Facebook Marketplace for different items and different pieces of things. And I was driving all over the valley to pick these things up. And one of the things that I picked up were these tall brass candle holders. And they're about, I would say, 3 feet tall. They're very ornate. As I said, they're brass, and they, so they're tall, and then they have this huge sort of base around the center of it so that it can catch the candle wax. Over the years, they have been melted on and dripped in and all these different things. So it's just, they're beautiful to me. They're absolutely beautiful. But when I look at that candle holder, all of that information comes with my actual vision, my actual sight, and my taking in of that candle holder. All of those details, all of that storyline, and not only the description of, what I was doing or why I purchased them, but also my beliefs about that. So when I say to you, I had a very limited amount of money, what also comes with that storyline is like, damn, that was a time in my life when things were really tight, and I was making this move because I needed more space, and it reminds me of my relationship, my, actual partnership that I was in at that time, and all of that information starts coming in, and then my thoughts about money and how I perceive myself in relationship to money. All of these things start coming in. All of this information starts coming in just from looking at a candle holder. And that's with me being very aware of all the different information that comes in. For most of us who are not super attuned to all of that information coming in, we don't acknowledge that there is so much energetic weight with every single item in our house, every single item in our car, in our workspace, in our everyday, city, neighborhood, town, whatever. And that is also true as it pertains to relationships with other humans. And this is where we start getting into my purpose and my desire to discuss relationships from my perspective as an invitation to you to investigate what relationships mean to you, how they have shown up in your life, how you have shown up in those relationships. So going off the basis that everything surrounding us is laden with narrative, rhetoric, storyline, details, aka energetic weight, energetic density, taking into consideration that everything around us comes with all of these things, whether you know it or not. What that means is that when we are in relationship to another person, there's work to be done there. There is work, healing work to be done. When we talk about the difference between the special relationship or the holy relationship, pop culture has made millions of dollars, millions, billions, trillions of dollars over the years, forever and ever and always, on the romantic comedy of how their eyes met and she just knew, or he finally was willing to change for her, and I can't breathe without you, and you complete me, and like all of these things, all of these highly charged, dramatic things. And even me using the word dramatic carries an undertone with it. Depending upon who you are and the messages that you've been told over the course of your life, me calling something dramatic might offend you. It might not mean anything to you. It might be something you desire to have more of. It all just depends. So that right there is a really tiny example of how everything comes with work. Everything comes with weight. Everything comes with a meaning of some kind. And the whole purpose of our existence in this third dimension is really to have the experiences of all of these things, to have the experiences of, what does this mean to me? How does this make me feel? What do I want to do with this? What is my response to this? Am I a yes? Am I a no? So when it comes to relationships, And, that very special soulmate, special, wonderful relationship, the one for you, everything was different after we met, all of that stuff. While it is amazing to have that type of connection with somebody, and it is so delicious and fulfilling and nourishing to have that experience with somebody, I want you to know that that type of amazing, delicious chemistry, that feeling of home, of safety, of nurturing, whatever it is that you truly desire out of a relationship, out of a partnership, that's available for you in a lot of places. And when we have a definition of relationships that equates to, I love you, I am in love with you, and therefore we must get married and have babies and be together forever. When we put that type of specificity and constriction on a relationship, we miss out on everything else that is available. People come together for a lot of different reasons. I am in love with my client's process. The feelings of being in love are not necessarily separate from being in love with the client's process, or being in love with the smell of lilacs, or being in love with my manager who just fucking makes me laugh so much all the time and is spectacular in so many ways. Like, I'm in love with her, I'm in love with them, I'm in love with this, I'm in love with this platform. Like, there are so many ways in which to be in love. There are so many ways in which to be in relationship. And taking that availability, taking the possibility of loving many things, dare I say, loving all things, and combining that with the knowledge of everything that we come in contact with already has a definition, a storyline, a narrative attached to it. When we combine those two things, what that equates to is soul work. It equates to an invitation to do the work of self. The work of self being experiencing life, experiencing all the things. We come together in relationships to heal one another. Although we are in human form in this third dimension, there are other dimensions where form is not necessary. There are other dimensions where energetics show up differently. There are other dimensions and platforms, so to speak, where we have a different type of experience of being alive. That doesn't make this experience of humanity any, better or worse. There's a lot of rhetoric out there in my industry, in the metaphysical self-help, self-actualization industry of like, we're trying to ascend, we're trying to get to these like upper dimensions and like higher frequency, and like those t-shirts that say like good vibes only or all of that stuff. And I'm sorry, for me, that is just not my truth. That is one aspect of universal existence. But again, we're talking the whole universe here. And if you want to get real geeked out, we can get into like multiverses, okay? You talk to a physicist, talk to a cosmologist, an astrophysicist, things can get cray out there beyond this planet. But for this conversation, we're just going to keep it in the one universe, which means in this universe, everything is possible and everything is available to us. So as soon as we start to limit ourselves to only one relationship that looks like this, one partnership, and this is what it means to be in partnership, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When we start to limit ourselves with definitions that we are unwilling to change, we suffer the consequence of shallow breath. We suffer the consequence of shallow breath. And I say breath because everything in our universe is breath. Everything moves in this expansion and then in this contraction. And then we expand and then we contract. And we see that in our seasons, and we see that in our bodies, and we see that in, the solar cycle, et cetera, et cetera. And we see that in relationships. When there's a time for us to come together with somebody to do some soul work, to do some healing work, we come together and we have the invitation of doing that work. And because the universe is full of breath, expansion, and contraction, we expand with that person when we are in relationship with them, and we grow and we realize things and we heal things, and it's amazing. And then we contract. And sometimes that looks like a period of rest within the relationship. Sometimes it looks like it's time to change the form of that relationship. Because that's really all that contraction is. Contraction is rest. Contraction is winter time. Contraction is death. But not death of the human body as we know it, death of form, meaning a transformation of the form, the proximity, the dynamics of that relationship. In really plain language, what that means is, from my perspective, we come together in relationship because there is an energetic connection, there's a charge, and then once that work is done, then we leave each other. It's okay to be madly in love with someone for 3 months and to go on this wild ride of learning lessons and, having incredible sex and, going on adventures and whatever else, this potent chemistry. And then for whatever reason, over the course of a couple of days, all of a sudden the energy shifts and things feel different. And the exchange between you and that person has become kind of stale. It's become kind of dull. It's become kind of like, it feels dead. Like the energy almost feels dead. There's no charge there anymore. Sometimes that means the work has been done and it's time to change proximity. Sometimes that means you don't need to be in relationship with that person anymore. It's only our definitions that tell us, oh, well, that doesn't make any sense. We were madly in love for 3 months. What happened? Well, what happened is the energy shifted. And we can see examples of that. Did I say that word all the way through? We can see examples of that. I'm sorry, sometimes my mind goes so fast that my words don't catch up. And I just had a moment of that. We can see examples of that all over the world, especially in, Arizona where I am. During monsoon season, it's bright, it's sunny, it's beautiful. And then truly within, maybe the space of an hour, sometimes less, cloud cover, monsoon, dust storm, like totally different type of frequency and energetic charge and vibration. The weather pattern changed. Think about it, from the perspective of the wind. The wind will pick things up and swoop things everywhere and go left and right with no particular quote unquote order. But we allow for that. We allow for that to exist because that's the weather, or that's the wind, that's what it does. Well, guess what? We are made up of the same stuff as the wind and the weather. So sometimes our energetic frequencies move that way as well. The whole point of being in relationship of any kind, whether it's a partner relationship, familial relationship, the person who's checking you out at the grocery store, your trainer, like the whole point of every relationship and the people that we partner up with and pair up with for whatever amount of time is for maximum growth. And I mean soul growth. And when the work is done, then it's time to move on and go to your next experience that will allow you to grow more, to actualize yourself more, to realize your dreams and your expression, your full expression of self more. And we do ourselves a disservice when we try and limit that. We do ourselves a disservice when we try and make something that it isn't. Quite often I've noticed as I look back in my life, the initial reason that I was attracted to a person, a friend, a client, a collaborator, a lover. The initial reason that I was attracted to a person really is the thread all the way through that relationship. And so just because someone makes us laugh and our partner has never made us laugh before, doesn't mean we need to make that person our partner. We love the exchange for what it is organically and naturally, and we don't try and force it to be something that it's not. And when the time has come, when it's run its course, we can let it go. We can let it die so that it can transform. And sometimes that looks like separating from that person and changing your proximity. Sometimes it just means letting the initial agreement and exchange between you and that person die. The dynamic dies and it transforms into something else, but you stay in close proximity. I'm not here to tell you that every time the winds blow, you need to break up with your man. You know what I mean? Or like every time, the monsoon blows in, it's time to make a career move. I'm not telling you that. The whole point of all of this is for you to open up and expand your definition on what it means to be in relationship. And that sometimes things are complete and it's time to be done for no other reason other than it just is. As humans, we have this toxically masculine approach, which translates to toxically linear approach to our existence. We want to know the reasoning. We want to know the logic. We want to know the 1 + 1 = 2. This is A, this is B, this is how we get there. We want to know those things because we have all decided that that's what makes us feel safe. And when we start to speak the language of energy, and when we start to engage in our relationship with the universal energetics, knowing that we are a compilation of universal energetics, and therefore we ebb and flood in the same ways that the universe does in the spirally breath of movement, when we start to engage with that, we open ourselves up to a myriad, a whole other level of existence, experience, and love. Love, love, love. And that's the holy relationship. When I say to you, I love love, or love was my first love, that's what I'm talking about. My primary relationship is with the universal forces. When I get a whisper because I have worked so hard and really sharpened and attuned my skill set of inner work and inner knowing and in relationship with the universe, when I get a whisper of a person, I'm like, oh, maybe do I need to reach out to them? What do I need to, what are they, and I make myself available for that relationship, however it wants to show up. I don't necessarily know why it's showing up. I just follow the whispers. I follow the movements. And it has allowed me to experience the most tremendous expressions of love and existence. And as I said to you in the beginning, that is the point of why we're here. The point of why we're here, although we can get so caught up in politics and COVID and masks and vaccines and stay away from me and this is my opinion and you're wrong. We get caught up in all this human drama. And what we really need to be attending to is the underlying movement that creates those circumstances. We have this tendency in the third dimension to just do this thing. We only see what's right here, when in reality there is this wide expanse of existence that if we can do the work, the inner work, to get our definitions out of the way, to get our blockages out of the way, and make ourselves available for the relationship with the universal forces, then that means we can attend to those 3D scenarios in a very different way. It doesn't mean that they're not good. It doesn't mean that they're not beneficial. Absolutely. We get to have these experiences of, tasting delicious things and hearing beautiful music. We get to have that experience in this third dimension as a human being. So it's an incredible gift to experience that. I just want you to know that that's not the only experience available for you. And getting stuck in these one-track thoughts of what it means to be in a relationship. That's one of the biggest ways we get in our own way. We do ourselves a disservice, and that's part of what makes following the artist so important to me. It's part of what makes following the artist such an easy platform and medium through which to understand the movement of things, the movement of the energetics of the universe. The special relationship keeps us hungry. The special relationship keeps us tight and in pursuit of specific perfection based on our own internal narratives and dialogue. The holy relationship allows us to trust and open up to the chaotic perfection that has so specifically designed you sitting right there listening to this, me sitting right here speaking to this. The holy relationship allows us to be in love with everything and everyone. And what's amazing about that is, even if it's not forever, I'm able to be so much more present with you in whatever relationship, for whatever time, in whatever container we come together. I am able to be so much more present in my relationship with you, so much more in love with you, available for you, available to receive you, when I allow myself to understand that it may not be forever, but that doesn't matter. Time isn't real anyways. And when we do part ways, it's not that I love you any less. I actually love you so much more. Because I was able to fully realize myself and you through our relationship and through our exchange. That's what it means to be in holy relationship with each other. To open ourselves up and to understand that each person I meet is the love of my life. Each person I meet is the love of my life. These are tears of absolute exquisite joy. These are tears of knowing what it feels like to be so deeply in love that we feel everything, including sadness, pain, fear. Again, what did I say to you? The point of being alive is to experience things. So be deeply in relationship, be deeply in love, be deeply attentive to the energetics of the universe. And know that when you do that, when you allow that for yourself and for others, when you allow them to ebb away from you, if that's what it creates, that you will have painted the picture of your life with specific hues that came just from that person and their role in your life. We're here to do soul work with each other. We're here to integrate consciousness. We are here to experience all that the human existence has to offer us. Without definition or attachment of what it may or may not mean. I just want you to know that you have permission to be done with something if it's done. If you feel complete, if there's no more energy, if there's no more charge, if you find yourself trying to make something be something, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. You can be in love with as many things or as few things as you want. And if you want more, just know that you can have more. You can have whatever you want through your investigation of your relationships and through asking yourself, am I attached to this as the special relationship that's going to save me and complete me? Or am I allowing it to be the holy relationship that it is meant to be for the greatest soul growth for myself and for the other person? I don't know the answer to that. Each scenario is different. And it's the journey in the work of self that will help you find those answers, find that truth for you. That is the gift of following the artist. The artist being universal forces, metaphysical frequencies. Follow the artist. Follow the artist all the way in. Exhale, inhale, expand, contract. The breath of love. That's what it means to follow the artist. Thank you for listening. I love you.